There we go.
Okay. So, heads up to the audience. There's going to be little to no editing on this episode. So, this is kind of just like an unedited. Oh my god, my cat just. It's like right behind me. It's just. Are you okay?
I love this.
Okay. Anyway,
Get a
there's
roll.
like little to no editing on this episode. Just giving you a heads up to everybody. Anyway, welcome to episode 6 of Breakpoints. I'm Taylor Crawford. These are your co-hosts Sam Young and Agro Blaze, and our special guest Kevin Murphy, Prism player. How was everyone's week in Fab? Let's go.
All right.
Okay,
All right.
cool.
Cool. I'll
Next
go
question.
first. I'll go first, I guess. My week was pretty good. I decided that I'm going to Kansas City. I actually locked that in and bought, got a room and plane ticket and stuff, which is pretty exciting. And we had a local tournament today that it wasn't like a pro quest or anything, but we had a pretty cool local tournament that our local store, the Blue Post, put on with some really good prizing. I think there was 2 cases in top 8, and there was some cold foil Ira promos, and there was a sealed gold foil to first, and an EA Call to the Grave. So really good prizing, and it was a good day. We had a really good turnout. So I ended up losing in top 4 of that to Avertance. So you win some, you lose some. But yeah, no, it's been a pretty good week. Just getting ready for Kansas City. I will say it was weird to be testing with Test of Iron Strength all week, and then now, or whatever it's called, Iron Grip or whatever, and then I had to turn around and play without Test of Iron Grip today, and I got to tell you, I was really missing that card today.
Well, actually, so I was thinking about it. In our game, if you had it, you'd had to discard a card.
Yeah.
So it actually was good that it was a trounce.
Yeah, no, dude, it'd have been even worse. There'd have been so many more feels bad in our game. I'm just taking that one on the chin, dude.
Yeah, man. You see people mention that card and think about putting in other Guardians, and it's already a risk in Victor.
Bro, tried it in Volda. I'm telling you, just don't. Just leave it alone. If you're watching this and you're trying it in other Guardians, just don't. The reclashing mechanic is huge. Trust me. Trust.
Let's go gambling. That's all I can think. I also played in the Blue Post tournament. I had a great time. The only thing that really matters is I got to beat Zach and Swiss.
Here we go.
And that was it. Nothing else actually mattered. I got to beat him, so now I'm the king of the Breakpoint matches. Sorry, Sam. You weren't there. You said you were going to come.
Is that a
maybe.
thing? Are we gonna
hey, man.
Are we gonna contend for king of the Breakpoints channel? Is that gonna be a running
sure.
thing? I'm here for that.
As long as I'm winning, I don't care.
I'm gonna start a spreadsheet, and I'm gonna keep track of who beats who. So who has the
as soon as I lose, it doesn't matter anymore.
I
Okay.
think we should go by Nationals placement. All right.
Yo, pause, Sam. Get out of here, dude. And on top of this, he beats me in Swiss, almost knocks me out of top 8, and then he steals my pain in the backsides, bro. Come on, dude. What is happening? I'm being robbed.
I am
today.
the full fucking package, Zach, okay? That's the difference.
Oh, man.
Anyway, Sam? How was your week in Flesh and Blood?
Nothing nearly as exciting as that. I've gotten a little bit down to the nitty-gritty of testing for Kansas City. We had a little decent session yesterday between me, you, and Aaron that I felt was pretty productive, and today I spent a lot of time both working on Volda and what happens when you have a good Volda deck against some of these top decks in the format. It's a lot more promising than I would have originally anticipated in the gravy. I was kind of dooming on it. You do get a lot of surges, but Chum is just so insane in that matchup that I didn't think it would be even close, but there's some play there. So I'm kind of excited to see how Voldo turns out coming into Kansas City.
Not gonna lie, I'm very glad to hear you say that Volda's looking better into Gravy Bones, because I haven't had a chance to test that matchup yet. But it does look like it could be pretty cool. So to hear you say that makes me feel better about what I'm thinking about doing for Kansas City. So
It's Victor.
Oh, Kevin, how was your week, brother? How was your week, man?
Just a couple armories.
Okay.
Played some Acilio, played some Prism.
Hell yeah.
Acilio's always been a little side deck for me. One of those decks that I have next to me at my desk, and I'll goldfish occasionally.
Okay.
So went and took that out to Armory and 3-0'd with that, and then a couple days later 3-0'd with Prism, which, but that was also Prism with Lost in Thought, which turns out that's really good into Gravy. And their hand is Tipple, Ivophidia, Ally, and you just take the tipple out of that hand gets really bad.
That's awesome, dude.
So once again, messing around with a Prism list that has 14 reds in it. So just kind of been working on Prism stuff mostly, but I got it. Another one of those simulation things on the back burner. It was running all of Friday, and I think it took 16 hours to collect all the data. So that's what I've been working on in Flesh and Blood.
All right.
So.
All right, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
You are.
So, like, I'm sure we have a segue here, but I'm going to completely interrupt the episode because this Lost in Thought, dude, like, this has really caught my attention. This is a card that, like, I really liked when it was printed because having played Magic for years, I really liked Thought C style decks. And so I thought Lost in Thought was going to be way better. And so to hear you say that it's doing really well, are you playing it in other matchups, or is it, like, just to, like, lean into Gravy and try to, like, pick their hand apart a little bit?
I think it's especially, or it has a very high ceiling against Gravy, just because their hand is so dependent on a couple cards, as well as the difference between Gravy on a 4-card hand and a 5-card hand is a big difference just by itself. So, like, even if they have 2 tipples, taking one of them, like, really reduces the impact of that hand, and a lot of the filtering they have. And all of this credit goes to Prez, Michael Collins, I believe his name was, 19th at Singapore. Like, he had the best Prism list at Singapore, I think, by a full, like, letter grade. Like, just absolutely. And I think, like, Dio, it gets some points. Into Slippy and Marionette. Slippy, it can get some points, not as much Marionette. I'm not sure about it into the Ninjas, but I can see where it can do well. It changes some of the play patterns, but the 1 cost is, like, actually something I've been looking at for a lot in Prism, where it's like, I would kill for another set of War Tunes in the deck. Like, that would make the deck so insane.
No shit?
Yeah. So just having a 1 cost in the deck that, like, I'm very happy to play. Lost in Thought does that very well, but it's also because because LSS have leaned into that synergy angle on decks more than just, like, consistent value, like where we had with Oldham. It's like synergy stuff where you have to have tipples, you have to have your Bonds of Agony, you have to have whatever key piece. If you can take that out of the hand, suddenly the hand is way worse, even if they ponder, like, reasonably well. So Lost in Thought has done pretty well in a deck where it didn't always do super well. Like, Prism didn't always use it really well, and it wasn't, like, super good, and I still don't even run it into, like, Victor or something. But it's doing really well. What are you doing? Stop it.
That's kind of cool. I really like to hear that. I wanted that card to be good. That and what I can't remember, the 0 for 5 defense reaction. I can't remember what it's called.
Flicker Trick.
Yeah, I wanted those 2 cards
Mirage.
to just, like, run the format. I was convinced for a while that with those 2 cards, like, Illusionist was going to be unstoppable. Joke's on me, Illusionist has been unstoppable and it didn't need those 2 cards the whole time. So I'm very intrigued to hear that you're doing well with that card. I like that a lot. It's really cool.
I mean, Flicker Trick was one of the best cards in Dromai in Lexi meta. Like, it was insane in Lexi meta, so...
Real good.
Makes sense.
Until like Rain Razor did.
You never got blown out by Rain Razors. They always played Rain Razors before you could play Flicker Trick, and then you're like, okay, I won't play it. That's fine. Next turn. Whatever. But, yeah.
All right, so, like, Sam, like, I'm sure we have some like some actual segment points here now that I've completely derailed this, and Taylor's already said he's not editing this, so let's keep this rolling right along so that there's, like, no silences.
No
More
edit.
rambling is better, right? Yeah, it's silent.
Yeah.
It's great. All right. So I kind of want to get it kicked off with this year's been kind of absolutely nuts for you, Kevin. You go from not winning, like, any major tournament higher than, like, a PQ to winning your first Battle Hardened to the insane performance you had at London. Like, first off, how does that feel?
It still doesn't feel like it was real, because, like, it wasn't just that I hadn't won anything. I hadn't top-8'd anything above a PQ until Memphis. So, like, I went into Memphis and I had practiced Viscerai for the entire month before it. I hadn't practiced Prism. I'd played Viscerai, and I played Viscerai in the calling that weekend. And I, like, missed day 2 by, like, a win and in. And then I was just like, I'm just going to play Prism for side events on Saturday. I'm not going to play the limited calling. I don't want to play Sealed. Sealed isn't my thing. And then I just I took a list to side events and it felt terrible. And then I fixed it Sunday morning, and then Sunday went great. And it just felt like I was doing my thing. Not like I'd particularly prepared for it, just like it was, all of this stuff was like part of the progression. And I just happened to hit those couple days of Memphis and then London. And like, it doesn't feel like I did anything like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like I did anything special. And that feels crappy to say. But I didn't do anything like, I don't feel like I rose to the occasion, so to speak. I felt like I went and I played my games and I did my thing. And on those days it was enough. And either I'm not going to continue to grow, or I'm going to continue to grow and I'm going to have more of those days. But I just happen to have those days. So,
well, that leads me right into, I guess, point number 2. What do you feel like you've actually grown since, this year has been such a huge upheaval for you? Do you feel like there's an appreciable difference between you a year ago and Memphis, and then even bigger coming to London?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Like, first of all, draft is like felt so much better over the course of the last year. Like, because this is the first competitive TCG I've played, so I never drafted before Flesh and Blood. Mm-hmm. So I'm still getting familiar with the physical process of drafting. And like, because like at London, I think I got some very fortunate seats, in all honesty. And I think that showed then at Nats, where my seats were much harder to pilot, and I wasn't able to convert that. And then Singapore, my seat wasn't super difficult. It was a Scurv seat, pack 1, pick 1. Like,
pretty
all
good
right,
seat.
I'll take that. But like, even then, I still made some mistakes where I thought I could wheel some cards where I couldn't, because I just wasn't as familiar with, I wasn't as comfortable with drafting. So there's still mistakes there. But like, that stuff I would never have, that was the first time I'd ever drafted Scurv or played a game of Scurv.
Oh,
like,
the hell of a place to start.
Yeah. Like, and I couldn't have done anywhere close to that a year ago in draft. And then it's like, CC, like, the entire time I've been playing Prism up until probably March, I've actually just been making it up as I go along. In all honesty, just every game, just making it up. And just like, this works. This seems pretty good. But
I don't entirely believe that. I've seen your YouTube series.
No, that's why I say March, because that's when I started codifying it. Because that was when Taylor said, hey, come on stream with me and teach me how to play Prism. And then I sat there for a weekend and I was like, I don't know how to teach somebody to play Prism. Oh no.
I love that so much. Dude, like, the raw honesty in this conversation is amazing.
And dude, people love that stream.
Yes, dude. I went like 2 days later. There was somebody in Purple Prism chat saying this is the best resource we've had for learning Prism in the last 6 months, and I was like, okay, dope. But then the next day, that same person listed out, like, in reference to it, I learned this, 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 and this, and I'm like, you got all of that from that? When there was, it was completely unorganized, completely unplanned. I didn't know where any of it was going. And you got all of that. So what happens if I take that and actually plan it? And actually list it out and figure it all out? And that's when the videos started. Not after Memphis, not after London. It was that one stream with Taylor where I was like, no, I can do more with this. And honestly, that helped me more on Prism than like anything else I've done, because it forced me to solidify all these ideas and all these concepts and all these game plans, and like just everything that I was just kind of doing intuitively or instinctually, I had to put into words, which like that's always been like one of the biggest things for me. So like the whole time going through grad school, like the kind of guideline that we went by is like, you don't truly understand something until you can teach it to somebody. And that was like, yes, it is. And that like I forced myself into that position where I had to teach it to somebody, not just Taylor, teach all of it to everyone. And that did so much for me on this deck. And even then, like now, God, what is that? 5 months later, I still am looking at this and I'm like, no, I still have another like 40% of this deck that I need to explain and I need to figure out. But none of that I would have done. I had a year ago, not even close. Like, no, like
Yeah, 'cause I
all of
remember
this
me
is
and you
just really
chatted.
crazy.
I remember me and you chat, and you're like, I think I'm going to buy a blinged out Prism deck. I was like, oh, that'd be funny. You're like, it's really good. I was like, is it? He goes, no, I'm like 10 games in. I'm like, you're going to buy a bling? You're like, yeah. I was like, okay.
When was that?
Hold on, I have the messages right here, sir.
Wait,
He said, "I got receipts."
That was like my
What?
main game with receipts.
wait,
I mean,
what?
I can kind of relate to this too because you just kind of popped in out of
There you go.
nowhere with the in
Check your-
Memphis. You know, getting all like hyped on the deck, and then you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy all the cold foil ALSs." And I was like,
Oh.
"Oh,
Yeah.
sure thing, brother.
Oh.
Like, that's sick."
Okay. That was like back in November. No, I started playing Prism back in heavy hitter season.
Oh,
I started.
yeah,
I've been
yeah.
playing
When
the
she
deck
got
for like
Numenorius?
7 or 8 months at that point.
So much
when
fun.
I said
I'm
I was
so
gonna,
sorry.
I was gonna bling it
I-
out. Okay.
Well, like, no, 'cause what happened is you said that you're like, the deck feels really explosive. And I was like,
yeah.
okay, so like, because to me, that seems like you haven't been playing for 5 months. You just figured out that it was good. I was like,
That was like
oh my,
You know,
you played for 5 months and you just figured out that it's explosive? Oh my
Taylor's
god.
got a point here. Taylor's got a point. Like,
Dude, he's like, it feels really good. I'm like, oh, that's great.
so before,
Yeah,
before,
he's in the arena. He's like, no, oh my god.
before
6 months? Oh, dude, this tome card. Holy shit.
No, this was after the tome ban.
That's even worse. This deck's so
Oh, dude.
explosive.
Oh, the-
I
this
hated
Tome of
Tome.
Divinity. Tome of Divinity is such a
I
sick card.
hated
was-
that card.
it-
Holy
it's-
shit.
Oh,
It was
like,
a
there's so many
it was a
dumb
degenerate card.
things. It's
Yeah.
so dumb.
Yeah.
I hated that card.
Oh, let me just play 2 tomes, and here's 2 Genesis ALS. Good luck.
Yeah.
you learn one time to kill Genesis. One time is all it takes, and you learn.
Is this in reference to a certain game that I'm thinking of, Zach?
Your mom, Kevin. How about that? Yeah, you mean where I hit Passing Mirage instead of the Genesis, and I could have won a ProQuest, and
Was
Tim
this
just
at
like,
an 8-person PQ? At,
yes, Kevin,
Ace
it might have
SG?
been at an armory that I drove 2.5 hours to play in and came in second at.
That's fucking...
So, for frame of reference, Kevin knows what I'm talking about. So, Tim Scroggs and I played in an 8-person ProQuest at Star City Games. In the
Yep.
finals, the 2-0 bracket of this armory we played at,
The 2-0.
Tim and I play. He goes, turn 0, he goes, passing Genesis. And my guardian brain, having not been, like, blown out by Tome before, goes, oh, I gotta kill Passing Mirage so I can pop all his shit. And then he goes, oh, Genesis, load this thing, like, Tome, and proceeds to put, like, Merciful in play, attack me with something, and then also, like, put an Arclight Sentinel into play. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, what is happening?
He's got fucking
Was
work.
also the first time I had ever been hit by like the ping off of double Merciful Retribution.
Oh, the machine gun is so sick.
We're sitting there and Tim goes, "You're dead?" And I went, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "No, you're literally dead." And he had to show it to me. And we just laughed. I was sitting there and I was like, that was embarrassing. I was like, I'm never going to tell anybody about this. I, of course, talked about it on the stream
man.
like later, but it was, dude, it was so
The
bad.
machine
So,
gun's like one of the coolest things you can do in Prism. I
it was
love that.
by far one of the coolest ways I've ever lost to Prism.
What was the gold foil?
Something not great. He opened it there.
Talismanic Lens, I think.
Yeah, like it was
Ooh.
fine.
Oh, dude. That's like a Blaze specialization. What are you guys talking
I
about?
was
That's
more,
fantastic.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
more interested in going to the
crazy
Pro
here.
Tour at that point.
Almost as good as Snapdragons, really. I mean,
Dude.
I mean, they're on par.
Oh, dude, I meant to tell you, Taylor, Goliath Gauntlet was the gold foil today. I don't know what Goliath
Oh.
Gauntlet's worth,
That's a
but it's a
good
pretty
one,
good hit,
honestly.
though, right?
To be fair, that would be my third one if I'd won it.
What
I have 2 other Goliath gauntlets.
That's wild.
whoa. All right, calm down, Mr. PQ winner. Like,
It's all I can open. It's all I can open.
Not this season,
See that?
pal. You get
yeah,
one this
only
season,
one
pal.
now.
Oh, man.
Just know I'm gonna get a tattoo that says Taylor, like the exact screenshot of me beating you on gym, right there.
Are you gonna put the comment that says "Where's your God" above it now? Okay, so Kevin and Sam, you guys missed this earlier. Taylor beats me in round 5 of this tournament we're in. He screenshots him clicking "I won" and then puts a GIF in there from the IT ground of this guy going, "Where's your God now?" Like I was rolling.
No, I'm in your Discord. I saw that.
Oh my god.
Dude, people are at the event going, "Did you see this?" And I'm like, "Yes, I fucking saw it, okay?" Like, Taylor showed
You
me.
were
Fucking
asking him?
lived it, brother.
People are asking him, and I'm like across the room. He looks over. I'm just staring at him. Just
Oh, man, it was peak. Dude, if I had
That's
been ninth,
fucking
I need you to
fantastic.
know that would have been the longest 20-minute drive home from a tournament ever. Like, if I had been ninth after losing to you, I'd have been so salty, bro. I'd have been like, yeah, I canceled the night's episode. I can't be there.
sweet. I'll call Vera.
Oh, man.
Oh jeez. All right.
So,
So,
before we move on, can I talk about something for just a second? Because
Yeah,
I feel
let's
like
wrap.
Kevin actually hit something really big that like people don't talk about very often. Kevin talked about having never put pen to paper with like having to teach somebody how to do something. And he talked about all these things that were intuitive to him. And I think that all 4 of us can probably kind of relate to this. You don't think about teaching it to somebody because a lot of the stuff that you would quote unquote teach somebody, you just know to do. And I think that Taylor, Taylor's like a big proponent of this. When he like teaches you something, he just kind of understands it, and so he doesn't always explain it. And I'm not like trying to pick on Taylor, like, but
No, you're 100% right.
but it's something that we all do, I think, where we're like, oh, like I just assumed you knew that, but you didn't. And so Kevin being able to go, oh, well, like I can like kind of talk about this or talk about this, I think is really good, and it's a great reason to kind of like talk about why we need more content creators in Flesh and Blood. Because the more people that make content, like, stop laughing, Taylor. I'm being dead serious.
No.
Like,
I have a story. I have a story.
but like, it helps get that knowledge out there that maybe you don't know, that maybe players X, Y, and Z don't know, that we know because we're just consumed by playing Flesh and Blood 6 or 7 days a week, and so we get all these reps in. So I think Kevin hit a really okay. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I play Flesh and Blood 6 or 7
I'm with
days.
you.
no,
I'm
it's fucking
with you.
all of us. It's all of us.
Sam's like
Just
super offended. He's like, "Nah, you got me, dude." But like, I think that like that's a great point. And like to Kevin's point, I don't see a lot of Prism content out there. Now, to be fair, I turn on Kevin's content and I let it run through because Kevin's a homie and I love him. But dude, like, I don't care about learning Prism. I'm not trying to ingest this. Like, it's like if you don't care about learning Guardian, like you're not watching my content a lot of the time. So it's like I'm not offended. I get it.
Yeah.
And so it's cool to see that like, the more creators we get, the more we're able to branch out and like really open up the game. And like you find an audience, kind of like Kevin was talking about, when somebody was like, I learned these 5 things that maybe Kevin just knew. And it's really neat to see.
Yeah. So to add on to what he said, what me and Sam talked about maybe a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about like how we interpret the game of Flesh and Blood, and how like he's a lot more analytical than me. So like he's approaching it from like an almost like an engineer design, where he's like talking about like sideboards and I'm gonna do this, and this. And I'm like, whenever I'm playing, I like to think of it as like an art, where it's just like he's like, oh, what'd you play in this matchup? I'm like, I don't know, 2 sinks and a fate. He's like, why? I'm like, it felt right. I don't know.
Because that's
And
what
like,
I
shuffle it
saw
up.
first when I was sideboarding.
Yeah. It's just like, he's like, oh, how'd you know he was gonna be on that? I was like, I did, and it was the feeling. It's like so it's like it's the ability that I have so many reps into Flesh and Blood that I have like an intuition of what I'm doing. And that's kind of like, it's hard to articulate to people that intuition that I'm getting, like that gut feeling of this is the line. You're like, why? It's like, well, numerically it's incorrect, but it's probably the winning line because I have 1,000 games here. And that is the hardest thing to articulate with good players. It's like, a great player can explain. I cannot. Like, there's just gut feelings. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to take an extra 2 damage here to arsenal this.
Yeah.
Why? It's like, I think it's going to be important later. So, like, I've been doing a lot of coaching, and someone asked me, what do you look at when you, like, to see how the game went most times? And I was like, did I win? They're like, that's the worst fucking thing I've ever heard anyone ever tell me as a coach. I was like, I'm
I
sorry.
paid you to coach me and you said that to me, I would
Dude,
immediately
they're
end
like-
the call and be like, give me my money back, bro.
I have to start paying them at some point. I'm like, I'm sorry that you're spending this much time with me. They're like, oh, why did you do that? I'm like, trust. They're like, that's not going to help me later. At my own, they're like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
What were you saying,
it's really interesting. Like, that sort of intuition was like really the hardest part for me on Prism, because you have the two game plans of, you have the Herald Aggro plan and you have the Aura plan, and you cannot do anything scientific or mathematical with the Aura plan. You cannot. It doesn't work like that. It's a combo game plan. And it's a combo that takes place over like 12 turns. And so like one of the questions I had after Memphis a couple times was like, I put the auras in, now what do I do? And I'm like, oh, I've been taking that for granted for the entire time I've been playing the deck.
Yeah.
And it's like that, some of those, because Flesh and Blood is like so interesting, and like that, like the Herald Aggro plan for Prism even is so mathematically like based, and it's just, it doesn't seem like it, but it is so grounded in mathematics and raw numbers, while the Aura plan is anything but. Your life total is irrelevant. The damage you took on this turn is irrelevant if it didn't drop you to 0. Like, none of that matters. But, like, explaining those two things are so completely opposite and so, like, just completely opposed to each other ideologically that, like, you have, like, the Taylor idea of playing Flesh and Blood of, I don't know, it worked. Did I win? Yeah? Cool. Sick. And then you have, I assume, the Sam idea of Flesh and Blood of, numerically, this is the best line. They have this percentage chance of having a popper, so I need to lead on Herald of Triumph, even though it's a 6 instead of the 7. So I have to lead this way, because numerically it's correct. And it's like, Flesh and Blood has both of those attributes, or like those ideologies like competing with each other at the same time. And it makes it really interesting.
I have one of the more hot takes in Flesh and Blood that I think that people really attribute Michael Hamilton's winning World with Icelander being one of the things that really put Flesh and Blood way ahead, like pushed everyone onto a different level. And I think it kind of actually did the opposite, where it took us to this level and then no one tried to innovate from there. Because I think a lot of what people look at when they sit down and they play Fab, they think, what's the best number? And a lot of people don't think, what is the best state of the game I can reach for this turn? And I think that's a lot of like what the Prism Aura plan is about, where like, what's better here? A Parable and a Merciful, or am I going to play out 3 auras this turn and not attack at all? What is going to like achieve this like winning game state for me over the course of the next 12 turns? And Prism is like, when I was learning Prism, I also ran into that issue where it's like, I just played a Parable. I guess I can count how many times he attacked me, but then I don't take into account like how many times he couldn't pop. I didn't take on how many times like that action point cost them to actually clear it in the end. You know, it's just such a nebulous prospect that you can't really actually get to a raw number ever, like you were saying. And learning decks like that is why I think that everyone should like play these classes at least once, because you can't understand what Prism is doing until you try to like kind of your mind wrap around it yourself.
Yep. 100%.
One of the best quotes I heard today, actually, we were riding in the car back from the Blue Post event, was Aaron's like, I'm always trying to figure out what puts me in the best place to have good variance. I was like, all right, that's a banger quote. Okay.
Yep.
I like that a lot. I'm gonna come back and like rewatch the recording and write that shit down. That's gonna like I have to say that to myself in the mirror in the morning. I like that.
You could do it in your codex.
Yeah, even better. Even better.
No, that like I mean I think that's 100% true, and I've heard that before in another place, and it took it even a step further. It was from Azul GG, a Pokemon TCG player, and the way he always approaches tournaments is he wants to have put him in the best possible position to do well. And that is ignoring all variants, that is ignoring everything else, like that is he is as prepared as he can be, that is he's prepared for as many matchups, he has picked the best deck as possible, and it is mitigating as much variance as possible, essentially. What can I do to give myself the best possible chance to win? And he's talked about this on not just a game level, but a tournament or not from a single game perspective, but a tournament perspective. But both of those are true. And like it is even more true in like Flesh and Blood of how do I mitigate fail states? If I don't draw a yellow as Prism, what happens? If I don't draw a starter as Syndra, what happens? If I don't draw a blue as Victor, what happens? If I don't draw an attack action as Briar, what happens? Like, all of those things are, like, essential to playing this game, because it's not just... Variance is a part of it, and part of being... of, like... I honestly, like, Hamilton making Icelander look that good is mitigating those fail states of, like, what is the worst possible thing that can happen, and how can I try to prevent it and put myself in the best possible space to win. Like, that's just core to TCGs.
Yep.
So it's interesting because I feel like both of those, like kind of what Sam was talking about, how like sometimes you have to take the like suboptimal line because it gives you the best chance to win. And talking about like what Kevin was saying, like sometimes you play the game out and you do like all the Flesh and Blood math throughout the game, and then you get to the end of the game and you're like, okay, like I have to take the suboptimal line that my gut's telling me I shouldn't take because it's my out. And I kind of have to like use the Taylor method here a little bit, like to get to that point. And I think it's interesting that like great Flesh and Blood players bring those 2 points together, and they really make them work. Where that 1 or 2 extra points at the end of the game, that's what's going to win you the game. That's what makes Prism has to block with an extra card, or like that's what really closes the game out. And so it's very interesting to see how the best players in the game pull both sides together, and that's probably why you see them at the top tables or winning or top 8ing a lot.
Playing to win instead of playing to not lose.
100%.
It's just like the basic version of that.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah. One of the most important things. Oh, yeah. No, you go, Sam.
I was going to go ahead and transition, so go for it, buddy.
No, fuck me. Keep going.
Leave that in. Leave that in.
Oh, buddy, stay in.
Leave it in there. Anyway. I was actually going to bring this around a little bit to Zach, because he's at a similar trajectory where I think about a year ago you hadn't won your first ProQuest at like ever, and now you have. You've won a few, ProQuest RTNs and things now, and then you also had an incredible showing at London. So what do you feel like you have done to get an appreciable difference in your gameplay over the past year?
So I feel like it's kind of wait, did somebody Taylor, would you say something?
Taylor?
No.
No, go ahead, man.
You go. No,
I mean,
don't put me on the spot.
It kind of feels similar to Kevin, honestly. Like what he said is like very true. I started trying to be much more methodical about like making sure I always have a plan. And it's like, oh, when I sit down and like when my gut's telling me something else, I'm like, no, you have a plan, do it. You just need to stick with it. Like, don't be intuitive. Now, like there's some weird, corner cases here and there, but most of the time it's like stick to the plan and stay with it. And honestly, like the other thing that I feel like has really helped me the most is playing other heroes. Like when I stream or when I'm doing something else, I'm like, you know what? Let's play this hero. And if everybody in chat wants to make fun of me for being bad, I'm like, I invite you to do it. Because if you point out when I'm doing something wrong, it'll help me get better. And it'll help me learn why that's wrong. So I feel like just playing other heroes and like trying to be more methodical with like my testing and actually looking for what's wrong. Not just playing Talishar games and then losing a trounce at the end of the game and going, oh, bad variance, I lost. It's like, no, you could have probably done something better 3 or 4 turns before that and then still lost a trounce and then maybe pulled the game out. So, like, again, like, kind of like, everybody's talking about, like, playing to that best spot scenario, I feel like has really pushed me to get better. And honestly, like, all of the people who have like stepped up to help me test for big events and big tournaments and like just kind of help me, even though I'm not like on anybody's team, all of the people who've just like out of the kindness of their heart just been nice enough to help me like grind for events has been super awesome. And so community has helped me a ton, honestly.
Yep. Yeah. No, like Mara's top 8 at Baltimore was just testing with locals, and my top 8 at London was just testing with locals, and you're what, top 16? Yeah, and you're Zach. You're what, top 16 at London?
Yeah, I finished 14th at London.
Yeah, like that's all like independent. That's not with a team or anything like that. So like, it really is just like it is a process. It is day by day, and if you don't try to like you have to just do everything you can each day to be better than you were the day before, and then when your day comes, it comes.
You
All right.
know, maybe
Speaking
that
of
day
people's
comes, or
days
maybe you
coming.
just lose winning into top 8 all the time, like time after time after time. Maybe a lot
Hey,
of them on camera. Who knows?
Hey, I
Like,
went X3 at a lot of Battle Hardens for an entire year, so
that's currently the boat I'm in. Watching you
Yep.
cross that threshold, man, I've got a picture of you in my room. Not that that sounds weird or anything. I'm just like, he made it. It can be done. We can cross over the hill here.
Huh. Okay.
God, please let that make that to YouTube Shorts. Me just talking about having a picture of Kevin in my room. Please. Please.
So, with speaking of winning events and whatnot, Prism is actually winning a fair few number of events and is kind of making her way. She's at about 650 right now, I'm pretty sure. She's like a Worlds win and a PQ season away from being gone.
Yep.
Is there anything out there that you also enjoy? I guess you kind of talked about Celia a little bit earlier. Was there anything you're taking like seriously?
Acilio is interesting. I don't know if the pieces are quite there for me to like really jump onto that hero and latch onto it. Gravy Bones is of course interesting. It's a very intricate long game type hero where it feels like kind of the Prism a middle ground between the Herald aggro and the aura plan. I'm not super interested in any of the Super Slam heroes, anything else like that, but like I don't know what I do when Prism's gone, man. Like I don't know if she's
3
gonna...
waiting room.
Yeah, it might be. Or Icelander 2 waiting room. Like,
Yeah.
God, I picked up Icelander last weekend for an LL Armory. It felt so good to be back, man. It felt so good.
So, okay, we're doing some LL testing with Icelander, not Prism.
Yeah,
with
I don't...
Worlds on the horizon. Is that kind of the game plan?
Prism had a quick 0-3 at Battle Hardened Singapore in LL, so then I picked up Icelander and it felt really good, really quick. But like I don't know what I do for CC when Prism is gone. I mean, like it's not going to stop me from playing the game. I'm not going to sell out of the game or anything like that. Like this game is just too good. Like I didn't do that when Icelander left. But I'm gonna have to figure something out. I don't know if this PQ season is going to be super good for her. Like, Icelander's been doing all right up until about Singapore. Because, like, her Singapore results were less than stellar, and some of those win rates were not where we expected them to be matchup by matchup. So I'm curious what happens come PQ season. I imagine they even out a lot more. Where Prism typically will do a little bit better in the experience. An experienced Prism will typically do better at an Armory or PQ level event because it's a local event and it's not as difficult necessarily for a Prism to make top 8. But I don't know. What I'm hearing out of Gen Con as well is a little bit strange for the results of that PQ plus 6 Slippies. Was that what I heard?
6 Slippies, won by Michael Hamilton on Gravy. Apparently.
Of course it was. God dang it. Of course it was. But
good up and comer.
I think Prism, I think you're right. Prism is about one like calling / worlds / PT win plus a PQ season from going. Which it wouldn't be surprising then if she was gone at the end of the year or right about the time of the first set drop for next year. So
which sounds kind of like right on schedule for them, possibly. So, might be a good thing. Might be planned out. Don't know.
It might, but I mean, how different Prism 2 was from Prism 1. I don't know that Prism 3 is gonna be my thing either. Because I also like, I think I enjoy Prism 2 way more than I would have enjoyed Prism 1. Interestingly,
I'm in the same spot as you because I didn't play back that far.
Yeah.
And the playstyle difference, because I tried to pick it up for LL, it's just night and day difference. You don't have this like sick combo like every Herald hits. It's like you have this extreme spike. With Old Prism, it's like, oh, I guess I get a Spectral Shield and Pingy for one.
Neat.
I do a little bit of value. It's not anywhere near as flashy. I'm not drawing 4 cards.
No. I have millions of games in Old Prism, and Old Prism is like, it's generally just still like more of a maps deck. Except the Heralds have an on hit of +1 sometimes.
Super
That's a,
toxic.
Yeah.
Super toxic.
it was people.
If you did
People
not play back
forget.
then, like in all seriousness, the OG Prism, like the actual Prism itself, was not the problem.
No.
It's
Luminaris,
dude.
like
No.
one,
Oh, yeah.
was
Well-
ridiculous.
Well,
Ridiculous.
Prism did have one problem, and that was the number in the bottom right being 40.
Valid, dude. Should have been like at least 36 or something.
Yeah.
So I firmly believe that like when I started, the reason I started playing was Aaron, and because we were friends outside of Fab, and he got me in, and the only deck he played for 2 years was Prism.
Yep.
And I firmly believe that's the only reason I play aggro decks till today. Is just like the literal first 100 games of Fab I ever played.
Yeah.
We sat down for a whole weekend, like 8 to 8. It was just he gave me Bravo. He's like, "This is a great starter deck. I'm gonna play Prism. Good luck." And I lost 100 games in a row, and I was like, "I don't
Yeah.
ever want to play this hero ever again, dude.
Yeah.
This sucks."
I'm amazed you still play this game.
Me too.
I might have
every day.
like put Aaron's cars on blocks if he did that to me, bro. Like,
He was
I
like,
would
he was
be-
like,
God.
he was like, "This is gonna pay dividends later." And then I picked up like Viscera, and I was like, "This is much easier to beat your ass in. What the hell are you making me do over here, dude?"
Why are you giving
There's
me
a card
this
called
deck?
Rosetta What the fuck is this?
This is trash.
Aranthos sucks. This is dog.
Holy.
He's like, "Oh, that's not us."
But
So, Sam asked about like what your next deck might be, Kevin. And even though like it sounds like you may not have like a straightforward answer, like, and I as someone who like had Victor to fall back on very quickly after Aurora left, like I kind of get what you're saying because it's tough. I bounced around a little bit. But well, I think one of the things that maybe we take for granted is that I think we all have like a slight process in what we do to try and like maybe line up our next hero. Because the good thing about the LL system is that you can see the writing on the wall. Like you know it's coming and you can start preparing.
Yeah.
So do you have like a process or maybe like a testing, like a ring or something that you put some heroes through to see what you might look for next? Or is it all just about vibe and feel for you?
it's a lot about vibe and feel. In all honesty, like a deck just like kind of has to be good enough. Whereas like I said, going into Memphis, I wasn't practicing Prism. I wasn't playing Prism. I was playing Viserai because I didn't think Prism was good enough into like the Viserai meta. And I had like misjudged how much people would jump onto the hunted heroes and then how good that meta would be for Prism. So like I wasn't playing Prism at that time, even though I liked it. So like I need a hero to like be good enough and also I enjoy them enough, and it's kind of just like a balancing thing where it's like combined they have to be enough. But like 40% of each of them minimum, where it's like I have to enjoy the deck I'm playing, otherwise I'm not gonna like put the time in. And like Viserai I enjoyed enough to put the time in, and like the Creepers lines were interesting, and playing the Viserai versus Enigma matchup was like actually pretty interesting just because there was some back and forth there in terms of like setup versus how much you sent, how much you set up, how much they blocked, how much board they made. Like there was a decent amount of back and forth in that matchup, and I found it like relatively interesting. And like I'd played Enigma some, and that deck was like fine. It was a board state hero, but like the choices weren't interesting enough. And it's like for me, it's like the baseline is the deck has to have some amount of depth to the choices. Because like I played Icelander, I played Dromai as like that deck. I played Lexi during Lexi meta because it was just the most busted thing, and there was nothing else really. When it still had Bullseye Bracers, like that was what I played, and then I still took Icelander to Baltimore for some stupid reason. And then like Icelander just has an insane number of decision points where like you can like actually get creative, even though there are numerically correct points to put stuff, but like some of the matchups you actually can express creativity, and it's like Prism, then the Aura plan is like what sold me. So like I need something with some amount of like not necessarily like creative expression, but like strategic creativity or tactical creativity. So like, and that's where like that vibe check has to like come in of I don't want to play Fi. I don't want to play Syndra. It's just not enough for me.
The
It's
next
like,
words
the
out
thing
of my
that sold
mouth are
me-
going to be like, so it sounds like your next deck's not going to be Syndra, huh? Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's like the when I was first introduced to Flesh and Blood, literally that night, like I got showed an Oldhim deck, and I was like, okay, this seems like kind of interesting. Like this and this is going on, and then I got showed an Icelander deck, or shown an Icelander deck, and I was like, oh, this is what's possible. Okay. And that's when I was hooked. I was up till 5 a.m. that night, just reading Flesh and Blood cards.
We had very different experiences. I was shown Icelander. I played a few games of Icelander, and I was like, huh,
Yeah.
Old and block, huh? Old and block, huh? And then I kept losing to Icelanders all season.
Yep.
Oh man, that's so funny.
But no, like it'll like Acilio definitely has that, and some of that complexity of like how do you manage your sigils and how do you set up for the proper power turns? How do you when do you use your equipment? Like Acilio definitely has like some of that complexity, but it feels a little more like Kano than Icelander. So I don't know if it like quite lines up for me, but like Acilio could definitely be on that list just because of the complexity, and it's like it started to feel really good. Like that deck has started to feel really good.
Yeah, that deck is really good.
That's good.
I'm gonna see. It might be a down period for a bit, but
that's fair. I mean, everyone take breaks, enjoy yourself.
Yeah, I was like taking a mental reset, even if it's just for a few weeks. Like that's like you get so much from like a mental recharge. Like it's totally worth. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yep.
Yeah. I took off like 4 or 5 months last year. It was really nice.
Yeah, you were talking about taking a break this year until next year's getting rolling.
Yeah.
I guess this PQ season you want to do, but
yeah, but they keep pulling me back in. They're like, please. I'm like, oh, okay. I
started
started coaching, and I was like,
deck.
They get. Well, I was gonna say they gave you a nice LL Briar deck to play. Like,
oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, I was gonna say Sam has never saw me play Briar. Dude, I love Briar. I sucked at it, but I loved it. Oh, so much fun. I have like no wins. I never did anything on Briar. I picked up any other deck, I start winning. But I was like, I loved it, man. Oh, I had the time of my life. Razor Reflex deck.
oh my gosh, Sigil Solace.
Oh, dude. Okay, that was sweet. Okay, that was some sweet tech.
Yep.
Oh, he's a Strider's range. Nope.
You got me with it. You got me with it.
I was like, oh, good times.
I took, I guess, a little bit of a different approach when I started learning the game. Is I just picked the best deck, and it was Lexi, right before that Nats season. I'm pretty sure, right before she's about to hit LL. So she LL'd, and I was like, okay, I've learned how to play the aggressive deck. This like sort of like sequencing aggro deck. What's the complete opposite of that? Well, Victor came out.
Yep.
And I was like, he do big number. I like that. And Victor, like, I think this also kind of ties back into why you should play different heroes. Victor is the deck that taught me how to pitch stack, because learning how to pitch stack in the heavy hitters meta was extremely relevant for like your really slow like warrior grindy matchups.
Yep.
And then one of the things that I think kind of like elevates my gameplay is you look for these like game states. And with Victor, it's extremely like fleshed out for you. You're a lot of numbers, and if you get to do the funny thing where you draw cards, your numbers are way better, right? Yep. So one of the hard parts about playing Victor in the heavy meta is that you were just a dog to KO. All these like your whole deck is built around drawing off of the clash to have your big turns or keep up against this deck, and you just didn't win clashes very often.
Yep.
And so I got to this point where I was at my personal heuristic of you can high roll. I'm going to keep in test of strengths because I still block 4 and give me KO gold. It's like, whatever. So if I win 2 test of strengths or resolve 2 pummels, I'm going to win the game. And that was like my goal going into every KO matchup. It was like, it's hard to define that for a player who's new to the game, where you find like, why do you get there with 2 pummels? Why do you get there with 2 test of strength wins? It's like that one card is that big of a deal, and it really is, and you don't really feel that until you're like playing these decks. I think it's like speaks to the complexity and like craziness that is the Flesh and Blood system, like how well it all kind of ties together. That was just, like, you can get down to the extremely specific heuristic of like, I need to do this and I'm probably gonna win the game every single time.
No, that definitely lines up because like
Yeah.
the one of the biggest things that I've seen in Prism and or since I've like really put in the time on like writing Prism stuff is like the games where I get a Shariah turn where I draw two in aggro games, and the games where I don't are like night and day. Like
Yeah.
I cannot win unless I draw two off Shariah. Like I'm at the point where I think if they wanted to kill the deck, they just ban Shariah
Oh,
and the
for
deck dies.
sure.
Like
Yeah.
that's like the deck does not exist if
You
that
like
is
you
gone.
don't have your Halo pivot turn without it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, the aura plan is gone. It's dead. But like I think you actually can't keep up in your aggro games if you don't have that because it's that turn is a one card 10.
Yep.
Mhm.
And like
It's
the games where
incredible.
I get that and the games where they keep me off it are like night. It's just completely different games. So yeah, no, it's you're 100% right that like stuff like that matters and like that even gets more matchup. Like you said, it gets more matchup specific. Of I need this against KO. I need this against this matchup. I need this against this matchup, and it's going to be entirely different. So like that's something I've been trying to work on more as well. Just because like the entire time, and I talked about this briefly at one point, where it's like the entire time I've been playing Prism, I've been playing Prism, not Prism versus X, and that's a problem. Where I've just been doing my funny thing, and it's been good enough.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And instead of playing my deck against their deck, and it's like that's something I've really like wanted to work on, and it's like why the content stuff is like kind of taking a break for me is like I need to sit down and figure that stuff out because it is that important
Well,
at the top
cons-
level.
considering you are a Prism enjoyer, you're going to play Prism going forward, and Mastery Pack just came out, and we've got Super Slam coming out after that. How do you feel about Prism's like state in the meta going forward now that we've got all this? What seems to be like some fairly targeted hate with the new yellow and what I assume will be probably more tools for them in Super Slam to make Guardian even a better meta contender. Hopefully, hopefully that doesn't completely fall.
So it's interesting because I assume you're referring to Clash of Bravado, the
Yes.
4 for 7 that Clash destroy an aura for
Yes.
or winner destroys an aura of the loser. That card is 100% relevant. If it makes it I'm not sure it makes it into Guardian decks, but it very well could. Especially Prism is like a big enough portion of the meta. It still doesn't clash on Angels, so like we can kind of work around it, but it's still not good. The interaction of popping with it and destroying a merciful before the Herald is destroyed with Phantasm is rather frustrating at times. I think I get to sequence the triggers the way I would want, though.
Yeah, I believe you were controlling those
So
triggers.
you
I don't
can
think
sequence
I
all
have
of
to
this,
worry
and we
about
don't
that.
even get to clash. Is the cool part because it like
No.
No,
The
you
clash always
clash.
happens. The clash will always happen.
So
Are we
the
sure
card
here?
has to.
I
Yes.
am. I'm 100%
Yes.
The,
All right.
the card has to have defended in order to trigger Phantasm. So Clash also goes on the stack, and when the
Okay.
chain is closed, triggers do not clear from the stack.
I
Cards
was
that have
lied
been
to,
played
and I've been
would
playing clashes wrong into Prism.
interesting.
Yeah, no, I have. I was told at a battle hardened some event that I went to, and I blocked with a popper and a test of strength, and they were like, "No, like you popped it doesn't happen." And so we called the judge over, and the judge was like, "No,
Nope.
like it doesn't happen. Like because you popped it goes away."
Nope.
And so I have been specifically playing the Prism matchup
Yep.
where I'm pitch stacking wallops and test of strengths together, and I'm like trying to put non-poppers together, and then I get blown out by like Wrath late in the game or something weird like that. And so yeah, sorry, this is
Yeah.
this is why
Well,
you
that
talk to
judge
other
lied to
people.
you. I'm
Everybody
sorry.
watching this is why you talk to other people and get a second opinion. I have learned something this evening.
Yeah. So when you defend triggers, when you pop, still resolve. The reason that like it feels like it's wrong is because if you play a card, or it's like I think it's the Gone in a Flash interaction with like D reacts
Yes.
that people are thinking of, where if you bounce Gone in a Flash in response to a D react, it does blank the D react because that is playing a card. So you can't Sink Below, you can't Rootbound Carapace, you can't Sigil of Suffering, stuff like that. but when you defend triggers, so Fyendal's Fighting Spirit, Battlefront Bastion, all of those still trigger when you pop
That's
with
why
them.
they're good poppers, because those
Yes.
effects still trigger.
Yep.
in that-
Makes so much more sense. That guy didn't like Guardian. I'm convinced that judge, bro. He was like, "Nah, Victor sucks, dude. You could get rolled." Like,
Yeah.
He didn't like the stream.
Decidedly
that's
not a
it.
fan.
He didn't like the
understand.
stream.
Yeah. No, so that 4 for 7 Clash of Bravado is a question mark for me, but I think it goes more in the pile of I really don't like Prism since there's no Enigma in the meta. It has to be I don't like Prism. It is funny into OG Prism and Enigma where you block an aura weapon with it, you win the clash and it blows up the aura weapon, it removes go again, all that stuff. That's funny. But I think that's the only card that like does anything out of Guardian Mastery Pack or like really does anything. So I'm not like super worried about that. At least like baseline. I don't think it does anything more than Midas Touch did, which like is relevant, but I can still play through it a decent amount of the time. And then Super Slam is interesting because none of these heroes look like any of our past Brutes or Guardians.
Oh, yeah.
In that Lyeth cannot pop for shit.
Well,
because
you can
none
do it
of
with
his-
pulverize.
Sad.
Great. He gets 3.
Badge.
Bet. Let's go. Like, none of these heroes look like past Guardians or Brutes. And they get some of, like, the revered cards look like decent poppers, at least. But I don't think it's, like... I haven't seen anything that, like, really pushes Prism out of the meta by itself. There's no Guardian gets extra action points. Brute is still, like, just baseline Brute, which, yeah, it sucks, but, like, still it has to deal with Gravy, and I don't know that either of those Brutes deal with Gravy super well.
It really doesn't look like it right now. They look kind of action point starved, all 4 of them.
Yes, that is what I'm kind of banking on. And then one of the Guardians looks very popper starved in not having any. And then the other one doesn't seem like she's playing a ton of poppers in her deck anyways. So it's like, I don't know where Pleiades... we have no idea what any of these 4 heroes look like. But there's nothing to say that they are traditional Guardians or Brutes. And because of that, they're probably not in the direction of punishing us. Unless there's like a suspense aura that like gives you action points. And even then, I don't know that that's that good because how do you use those action points? You're still Guardian. Like, is the guitar not once per turn or something? That'd be sick.
That'd be kind of dope.
That'd be dope. But like, I haven't seen anything that like really makes the meta worse, and we still just have Gravy Bones as Enigma Light, like defining our meta. It feels like, where it's like
I think
Valda's
for sure.
Yeah, like Valda has to everything that has been shown from Guardian Mastery Pack. We are viewing through the lens of how does it deal with Gravy Bones.
Slippy would be nowhere near as prolific if you could still play Florian. Like,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep. In which case, Prism would also be worse off. Like, I think this is still a better meta for Prism than Nats was. Like, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, this is still like the Enigma problem of we have a board state deck that numbers checks you to a lesser degree because like Gravy is actually a 34 or 36 health hero because he'll be stuck with 2 allies in his hand when you kill him, and he doesn't have armor. So like, yeah, his armor isn't a 12 value pivot or some nonsense.
Yeah, well, not in a Prism, but
Sure.
you're getting a lot of value out of Quick Dodge Flex a lot of the time. It's pretty
Sure.
useful.
But it's not Traverse with
Oh
Mirror.
God, no! Oh no!
Like,
not even close.
it's not Traverse. Like, Gravy is definitely Enigma Light, but I'm not. Everything still has to answer to him. Like, even if he's not the best deck, he will be the number 1 deck in A tier or tier 1.5 basically forever unless they ban something from him. Like, as long as he's a functioning deck, he is going to be the gatekeeper.
Do you think they should?
I think giving a light hit to Gravy would probably be good for the game. Where if they gave Tipple the Bonds treatment of you get one color of it or Swell gets one color of it, I wouldn't hate that, and I know that's kind of the default answer, but I don't think the deck needs a ton to like really keep it in check. Like it winning a Pro Tour is obviously like the outlier for its LL points, but the thing is it put 4 in top 8 of a Pro Tour. Like that's the actual thing, and then its conversion rate to day 2 was like 52%, which is pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
So if
How
they
much
gave
is
it a
that?
hit, I wouldn't have an issue with it. It should be relatively small though, because it's probably very easy to make that deck not playable
All
if
you
they
have to
wanted
do
to.
is take a quarter of a step too far into the bannings for Gravy, and all of a sudden the deck becomes like tier 2.5 or something like that, and like you just fall into this
Yep.
weird world where like even the victors are like beating this deck pretty like consistently.
Yep.
I think so. It's pretty. I don't, it's a weird line, and I think that's why
Yes.
you're hearing so much of the default answer is like restrict the color of this or restrict the color of that because you're trying to like cut out the ceiling of the deck and you're trying to make it more reasonable to deal with. So
Which honestly, like if they wanted to go another direction, like banning Whaler could be interesting, where the deck is just like slightly more fatigable, but it's not like blatantly more fatigable. Slightly. That's not like Whaler is like the easy button, it feels like, to anti-fatigue of you can just get someone into 10 range and then Whaler just like locks them out of the game forever.
jam one Whaler into your sideboard and all of a sudden like you have this anti-fatigue plan like off of one card where other decks need to slot like 3 to 4 cards in to be able to like try and make something happen. So I mean,
Yeah.
you're probably
Is my
venturing a little
understanding.
too far, like for
Dude.
like what we would want to do, but it makes sense. I get what you're saying.
Y'all's mind would be blown if y'all saw Cosmic Awakening. Y'all mind would be fucking blown.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's why, what was it, Zen in CYB meta was everyone was like, that's not, CYB's not real. That's not a real thing. We just
It's
play
real.
Cosmic Awakening, and then CYB shows up and Enigma's stupid.
Oh, that was a very, very silly iteration of the Enigma deck.
But
All right. So, let's go ahead and jump into some questions. I got some questions for you. Pull it on down. Taylor's not going to do any editing, so I'm just like talking out loud to this.
yeah.
No, I
Please.
love this. I love this. It
Yeah.
should just be a moment where it's like just us sitting here and it's like, man, the silence is deafening right now. Like,
Nah.
The audience doesn't even know that in every episode there's like a 10-second between the segments where we just sit here and stare at each other waiting for who's gonna break. Nobody knows this because I have to go in and be like, okay, where's the awkward silence at? It's just like Bajin just like on pause mode. I'm like, okay, well, who's gonna say something?
man, I love
My turn.
this so
Hey.
much.
All right, so I got one guy who likes to ask me a lot of these interesting questions. First off, he responds real quick every time. So this is my buddy Tater here. He wants to know, what's your favorite salad dressing and why?
I love this guy's questions, bro. This guy's peak content right there.
It'd probably be something in like a balsamic range if I ate salads ever.
Oh, right.
Monster.
You guys don't eat balsamic dressing?
Throw some ranch on there. Live the American dream. My God,
Wait,
what's happening?
Wait,
Yo,
What?
wait.
No,
Wait, balsamic is like the only way I eat
I
salads.
refuse to eat balsamic vinaigrette. I mean, I also don't eat
Bro.
a salad. I'm
Okay,
not a rabbit.
so-
Balsamic
Uh,
with like a caprese is like excellent.
Oh,
Joke's on you. I don't even
This
know
is
what
for
that
the
second
audience.
word means.
Here we go again.
Would you like some? Don't worry. They'll have a pro tour in Rome, and we'll teach you then.
Dude, good. I'm here
Yeah,
for
man,
it.
it's
I'm
delicious.
here for it.
Wait,
If you ever
do you
come
really
up
not
to my
know?
house, I will make it for you.
Oh, I did it
One
to be
day,
funny,
Zach.
but I really have no idea what that is. Not me Googling caprese. Hey Siri, what's caprese? Like while I'm muted.
First off, you gotta figure out how to spell it because it does.
Yeah, can you spell it?
Why do you think I said "Hey Siri" and then said it? Like because she'll do it for me. Man, my lack of culture around the world and knowledge is going to be
Oh,
like the
my
longest
goodness.
running bit we have on this podcast.
God bless America.
Oh,
God bless America.
that's gonna be
dude.
the new running bit for every episode. How can we pick a word that Zach hasn't heard before?
Not Taylor and Sam creating like their own chat just to like see what they can get me with next week.
Hey Sam, just check your DMs later.
All right, most stimulating conversation out of the way. Taylor, on a more serious note, well, what do you do besides just scoop into the brute matchup?
Pray. Like
Nice.
if I was genuinely to prepare for the brute matchup, I would bring parables in, and I would bring gambler's gloves because those are just better than Dreamweavers. Rapture plan doesn't work into a brute player that knows what you're doing. As soon as you pop Dreamweavers on an Erudition, they just overblock by 4 and you lose the game. And you basically just have to like commit to an aura plan just super early, and you are literally rolling the dice every time. And this is what people were doing going into LA, and it was miserable. I hate that game plan, but I don't think there was a better one. And I don't bring Gambler's Gloves, and I haven't been bringing Parable for the last couple events, so the brute matchup is just kind of sacked. The last time I won a brute game, they rolled 4 1s in a row.
That's incredible.
Yep.
It's not a big bet contender right now, but maybe on the horizon, you know. Not the biggest one to worry about, at least for now. So
Yeah.
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And then we've got, from our very own Nathan Crawford. Why is Runeblade a better class than Illusionist in every single way? No harm if you don't want to answer. This is just a factual statement.
What? Then why are you asking a question if it's a factual statement? Excuse me.
Taylor
Why
was
are
the
you
boss
asking
Nathan,
a question? That seems a little malicious, sir. I think Runeblade is pretty one note. You have A plus B and you do your thing and that's it. And your A plus B has gotten pretty simplistic recently with Aurora and Florian. I don't know. It takes a little finesse sometimes to
0 for 4s, baby. 0 for 4s.
Yeah, that's great. Takes a little finesse to win a game with Prism, and I saw quite a few Prisms doing well back in London when Aurora was a thing, and Florian hasn't been anywhere. So
Yeah, suck it.
I don't know.
All right. We got
Runeblade
another one.
is really fun when it works, though. The Creepers is genuinely one of the best cards they've ever made.
Oh, dude. So when Aurora first came out, we had some locals nearby who were playing the Creepers Aurora Flash Freeze combo.
Yep. Or just
that
Creepers
shit was
Burn
so
Up.
fun.
Like, just Creepers Burn Up in reactions and just do that. Like, that was
That's
also
like-
a thing.
It's such an insane interaction in LL that you
Yeah.
just like have magnetism in the deck for Briar, and you can just do that.
Yep.
It's so awesome, actually.
Yeah.
It feels like
No,
cheating.
Purgatory's messed up. Face Purgatory is a stupid card. Y'all almost
Alright.
got a hat as good as Halo of Illumination. Alright? Almost.
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 All right, what's your take on the generalists versus specialists in Fab discipline? What are some of the benefits and shortcomings that kind of are associated for you?
I mean, it's just like kind of the obvious thing of like specialists are going to have a much more significant like ebb and flow as heroes LL, and as classes get cards with each set and lose cards with each ban list or with each LL, and then generalists are going to do better over the long term. But even then, it's like we still kind of see degrees of that where it's like, I think even Hamilton is a good example of this, where it's like he seems like he's a generalist, but he's actually, I think, more of a specialist. Where he didn't have great results in Lexi meta when he was playing Lexi, because it wasn't really like the thing he specialized in. And I think Flesh and Blood is still, as a game, like rewards that, because there isn't as much crossover deck to deck as there has been in other TCGs that people have played. So I think the specialists are overall, or you see more success from specialists, like when you look at tournament results, but like you have to be a generalist like to some degree, just because all the decks are going to feel different. Like Prism 1 to Prism 2 is completely different, and playing Prism 1 is no guarantee of success with Prism 2, and probably going to be the same for Dromai 2 or Icelander 2, or especially Icelander 2, because they're never giving you the same thing that Icelander 1 had. Like,
Oh yeah.
so like you kind of have to be, if you want to play this game long term, I think you have to be a generalist, even though like we saw all three Prisms in top 8 of London were diehard Prism players. That's what they played. And then, but then we still see Pablo Pintor picking up Enigma as just the generalist best deck, and Sean Dhaliwal and Michael Jasker playing Aurora as best deck, and I think Paul Van Geisel as well is kind of is more of a generalist, I think. Where it's like generalists will have success, but like specialists, when they show up, they will win events. And I think generalists probably have a better edge at getting top 32s, top 16s, top 8s. And I think specialists probably have a better edge at winning events, if I had to guess.
Yeah,
Overall.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I like
But it's hard to quantify that, because it feels like because we haven't cycled back through a lot of these heroes through the LL system, it's hard to say just with the lifespan that Flesh and Blood has had overall.
All right, we got, I think, one last fun one. What is your favorite Prism matchup?
I think it might actually be the Vincent matchup,
Really? That's interesting.
which is everyone says that it's like super unfavored for Prism, and I think I actually get it to about 40%. Because I think Vincent is a very exploitable deck for Prism because of the way Spectra interacts with Rune Chance. And I think maybe that 40% was when Parable was in the deck, and it might be lower now without Parable, because Parable just like destroys that deck. It's ridiculous how much work Parable does into that deck, of not even just like they drop from 21 poppers to 3, all their 6 attacks drop to 5s, which you can cover with a blue between Footsteps and an Angel Flip. Like, you get so many, that matchup is so intricate and so technical, and you can tell within a couple turns how well each player understands the matchup. And it's very akin to like the Icelander Dromai matchup back when I played that all the time, literally like twice a week at least. I really enjoy that matchup, and it is very technical, and it really pushes me in my understanding of Prism and Flesh and Blood, because I'm not just playing the Aura plan. I have to play the Aura plan and then break all of the rules for the Aura plan, and for the way I use Halo, and for the way that I like approach the matchup pre-Rosetta. And it's like, that's the one matchup that I have a guide for in the primer, because I enjoyed it that much, and because it required that much of me, and because it was the first matchup where I learned to play the matchup instead of just playing Prism at my opponent. Like,
Yeah.
and it's so good. And it was so much. I remember like after Rosetta came out, like the Prisms like for the first week thought it was still fine, and then they're like, oh god, no, it's not fine. Oh no, this is terrible. This is unplayable. Oh god. And after probably about a month, I would go back and be like, no, the matchup is still playable. It's hard. It's really hard, technically difficult, but it's definitely still playable. And then over the course of the next 2 months, everyone was like, no, okay, it's like fine, we can play it. It's not brute. We're not sitting down and gambling. We actually can play the matchup. So like, I think that is actually probably the Prism Gravy matchup might supplant it as my favorite Prism matchup, but I think it is Prism Vincent at the moment. Because like Prism Gravy honestly could have so much depth to it that like every time I play it, I'm learning so much, and I feel like I've played it honestly only like 10 times at this point, and I feel like I could play it 100 times and be nowhere close to having an understanding of it. But like the Prism Vincent matchup was like every game I moved my game plan like probably like 20%. It was like 20% different. Like all my like every like fifth turn, my choices were completely different each game. So by the time I got to game 6, it was like nothing looked like the same thing. Nothing looked the same. So that matchup has honestly just been so much fun to iterate on.
I can relate to the Prism Gravy matchup because that's how gravy every matchup feels like. A deck is crazy.
Yep.
It's so complicated.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
no, the decision trees are insane in that matchup, especially like as like that matchup for from the Prism side is like I feel like I actually have a very distinct set of tools. I've never thought of people have called Prism a toolbox deck, and I've never thought of it like that until I play against Gravy. Because I have a very specific yes, I have a very specific set of turns that I can utilize against Gravy.
Yep.
And I need to use each of them appropriately. And if I don't, I can just lose.
Oh yeah.
But like
people overhype Prism's win chance into Gravy. I think Gravy came out and they're like, "Oh, this matchup is completely doomed. There's no way, free soul on allies."
Gravy players didn't know how to play illusionist mirrors.
Now they do.
And now they do. And that has brought the matchup much. I think it's still Prism favored, but much less so. And it depends on the list. I think probably 55 is probably where I would think it is for Prism. Just because like Gravy can just explode you some games. But like it is so much closer. It was actually free on Gravy release because Gravy players didn't know how to play it unless you were playing against Austin Summers because he knows how to play all those jank board state decks. Like he looped me like on Heavy Hitters release weekend.
That's so sick.
Yeah. I mean, he went Erudition Tome double ALS into a dragon. And I was like, oh, okay. But like, Gravy players learned how to play board state, an actual board state matchup besides the Gravy Mirror, which is also another thing they had to learn.
Oh, it's so fun.
And then that made it an actual matchup where I think we're actually relatively close in how fast we can develop board states and how well we can like maintain a board state. I'll put it.
And whoever has like just that little bit more tech for the matchup than the other one, it swings so crazy.
Yep, 100%.
Prisms that are like running, like you have the the Lost in Thoughts.
Battle You Got and Lost in Thought are both, I think, very interesting for the matchup. Battle You Got is like a little swingier, but yeah.
And I've seen plenty of Gravy lists with Blanche in it, which is both a 7 power and a hell of an on hit in the matchup. And then you've also got some Gravies. I've seen Time Skippers in their decks, and it's like,
I'm on a Rapture plan. I don't care about Time Skippers. Go ahead.
All right, any closing thoughts for you guys?
Yes, I have a question for Kevin that I've wanted to ask Prism players for a long time. So, Prism is a deck that offers your opponent skill checks at almost every turn. And if they don't pass in a lot of situations, they will lose the game much faster than normal, like in a lot of situations. Sure. What matchups would you say offer Prism a skill check and force you to be knowledgeable in that matchup as opposed to, as you described it earlier, just playing Prism at your opponent?
I think I guess to say the Vincent matchup was like the biggest one, and it was the most face-up one where it's like it felt like it was unwinnable, and then I just had like a little spark of a moment of a passing mirage live the entire game, and I'm like, no, there's something I can do with this. So I think the Vincent matchup is like the biggest one for like a Prism skill check. I think the Flick Knives matchups are kind of the aggro one, because managing your spectral shields correctly, knowing when to use calming gesture, and understanding when you can and can't flip angels defensively has become a massive like skill check for Prism players. And I think part of why like the Syndra matchup was like very favorable on Hunted release for experienced Prism players, whereas it was probably unfavored for inexperienced Prism players. And both of those have kind of gotten closer together as time has gone on. And then like the Marionette matchup, understanding when to kind of take your pivot when you're unmarked, when you need to just set up a board of like ward like 10 and just say, you can't hit me for the rest of the game, go away. Like that's been a big skill check for a lot of Prism players, because that matchup has always felt very playable for me, and some Prism players have said it's unwinnable, and I'm like,
Y'all suck. Yeah, just
I don't
saying.
know.
It's okay.
That feels like a little bit of a skill check. And then I think kind of Guardian is the aura skill check, because understanding how to get Figments into play is the biggest piece of that puzzle, because that's the thing that Guardian is the best at, is just denying you Figments. So as long as you can get Figments into play, that matchup is playable. But understanding how to do that, setting it up with Merciful, setting it up with Passing Mirages, Dreamweavers, Pierce Realities, Wraths, understanding how you get all those pieces together to get Figments into play, to snowball a board state after you've done your Genesis ALS stuff, like that's also like, that's the aura plan skill check. Because you can aura plan a Divertance, and it's like, they don't have a way to kill your Genesis on a turn. Okay. Was nah. It just nah. But
I hope
like,
that's the exact noise you make at Verdance players when they don't. You're just like nah, and then you just do
Yep,
things.
okay. All right, I'll Genesis trigger and I'll do more stuff. Thank you.
Man, that's great.
Because you just don't have poppers compared to Guardian. Like, because Guardian has like infinite poppers. Like, and this is the thing that like for aura matchups, like some people don't understand. It's like, oh, Guardian has 40 poppers. How do you deal with that? I was like, I don't know. It's the same as if it had 30 or 50 or 60. I don't care. That's all the same. That means they have enough poppers every hand to pop both my heralds. So what do I have to do to win the game? And it's get angels on board and fix the heralds are the primary things. And those are like so intricately tied, but like that's the skill check for the aura plan is the Guardian matchup. For the aggro plan, it's Flick Knives matchups where you can guarantee ward value, which is why Viserai was such a miserable matchup, is because you could never guarantee ward value. Their Flick Knives was 4 rune chance, and you can't stop Flick Knives 4 times in a turn reliably. You just can't. But yeah, and then Vincent is its own thing, where it's like, if you can figure out how to play the Vincent matchup, you can probably play Prism into anything, as well as any other Prism player, I should say.
So it sounds like there are some matchups that offer you skill checks as a Prism player that you kind of have to like know what you're doing. You're not just playing Prism at your opponent, because there's definitely some matchups where you just get to play Prism and say,
yes,
good luck. Like, this is what it is.
Yes.
So it's interesting to hear. I think that, I think a lot of people, like, I personally agree that, like, as a Guardian player, I have to understand my skill checks, but there's also a set of skill checks for you as well. And if you just throw sixes at me all game, I'm just going to fatigue you at some point. So it's a very interesting dynamic. But anyway, sorry, that's all the questions I got. Taylor, things for you guys?
Good, Taylor, look like you're chewing on something.
No, I got nothing.
Got nothing. So, thank you guys for listening. If you made it this far, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you thought. We'll see you all next week. Thank you for listening.
See you guys.